Hey you there. Who, me? Yes, you. Have you ever wondered what the best free-to-play strategy mobile game is? No, not really. Well, too bad. I'm here to tell you anyways, because the answer is Rage Shadow Legends. Just kidding. That game has an autoplay button, so how good of a strategy game could it even be? The correct answer is Super Auto Pets, and let me show you exactly why and how to play. So, let's just hop into a game and look at how fast this is. You hit play and boom, you are already in the action. This game is an auto battler, which means your job is to buy and buff units that will then use their stats and powers in combat that will play out itself. Here's a quick rundown of how to play. In the top left you have your gold, which refreshes to 10 at the start of every round and can't be saved. Your health, which when reduced to 0 ends your run. Now the goal of the game is to achieve 10 wins before your health reaches 0, and this is kept track here. And the hourglass shows you what turn you are currently on. In this area, you have the units in your shop that you can each buy for 3 gold and place up here, as they will be part of your team. The little fist represents the damage that they will deal, and the heart represents the health each unit has. The little dice in the top left shows you what tier each unit is, and when you hover over the unit, it tells you quite clearly what ability the unit has. Over here, you can buy equipment and food for 3 gold as well. Now sometimes you don't want to buy the things currently displayed to you, so for 1 gold you can re-roll everything that is displayed in front of you. The little 1 dice shows you what tier units and items you will end up seeing when you hit roll. Overall, pretty simple. Other mechanics that are important are freezing units, which keeps them around in your shop even when you roll, and leveling up units, which I will demonstrate in the gameplay. Now while the game is very simple to learn, it has a lot of strategies and combos to explore, which makes it so fun to play. So my first shop, I see a pair of crickets, which I'm going to instantly buy as I love getting early pairs in this game. I then roll for 1 gold and find a horse, which will be nice with my crickets, as when the crickets spawn their other little crickets, the horse will give each one of them +1 damage. One of my favorite strategies in this game is to get a tier 1 unit to level 3, which will help me win the early game and can also be quite useful in the late game. It is very nice to get as many wins early on as possible so that you don't need to fight stronger teams later on. Also, because I won, I didn't lose any health, which is another nice benefit. At the beginning of the game, you only lose 1 health per loss, but then it ramps up to 2 and 3 later on. At the beginning of each turn, your shop will refresh, and I find another cricket and another horse, which I instantly buy. As you can see, my horses give the recently placed crickets a temporary boost, which shows you that the order in which you place down units can make a lot of difference. When you combine 3 of the same unit together, it levels up, which gives it usually a stronger ability, and also reveal in your shop a unit that is 1 tier higher than something you would normally be able to find, which I'll demonstrate a bit later. Units are capped at level 3, and the way you get a level 3 unit is either by combining 2 level 2 units together, or just adding 3 more level 1 units to a level 2 unit. Here in the fight, we're able to win, mostly because we have more units, and this player is running ducks, which is not a very strong early game strategy, and with that, we're able to get 2 wins in the early game. As you saw by the announcement and the dice on the roll icon turning to a 2, we are now able to find tier 2 units in our shops. We are also able to find another horse and level up our current existing horse, which, like I talked about earlier, gives you the opportunity to find a tier 3 unit, and we get one of my favorites, the rabbit. What the rabbit does is every time you use one of the health items on one of your existing units, not only do you get the benefit from the health item, which is permanent, it also gives you a permanent +1 health. This game is all about trying to find permanent advantages or short-term advantages in the late game when you only need a couple more wins. But the harder you can boost and stack your team, the better chances you have of winning. Sadly, we are actually going to lose, not lose, we're going to draw that round, which doesn't give us a trophy, but doesn't cost us any health either. The reason why we probably lost is because we're still running a bunch of level 1 tier 1 units and a rabbit, which doesn't give us a lot of combat strength, but it will give us nice advantages in the long run. Here we're adding some apples to our cricket because we believe that we're going to keep it around for the late game, and the rabbit will consistently give it +1 health as well as the apple benefit, giving it a +1/+1. Here you can see we're using the mechanic of freezing to freeze a swan and an apple. That means that when this round ends, we'll be able to see that swan and apple once again. The reason why we're picking up a swan is because we believe our team is rather strong. As you can see, we are doing quite well against these enemies, and the swan gives you +1 gold each round at the beginning. So instead of having 10 gold, we'll have 11 gold. You might be seeing a lot of interesting new mechanics. For instance, we have our bull, which gains onion armor anytime a unit in front of it dies, and it gives it a +2 stat. You can see there if you read the text. What the onion armor does, it's an equipment, and anytime you have it on your unit, it gives you +20 defense for one time. This game is very complicated, it has a lot of things going for it, so if you want to look up the wiki of all the units, feel free to do that. I'll include a link of that in the description. Here, we find a giraffe, which is another one of my favorite units. What the giraffe does, it gives the unit in front of it +1/+1 at the end of each turn, and that +1/+1 is a permanent stat boost. The disadvantage of the giraffe, it doesn't have much fighting power of its own, but because we've been diligent and increasing the combat abilities of our units already existing, we're able to get away with a bit more greediness in this way. We also froze the other giraffe because once you get the giraffe to level 2, you're able to boost the 2 units in front of the giraffe +1/+1, which is rather nice. We decide to put one giraffe on top of the other giraffe, which doesn't give it the level 2, just keeps it at a level 1, but we want the space open so we can keep rolling because we're trying to find either a tier 3 horse or a tier 3 cricket, preferably a tier 3 cricket, because with all of the food that we've been giving it, it's already up to a 10-9, and as you can see, it's really winning a lot of these fights, even against higher tier opponents that we haven't seen before, like for instance that swan. By that I mean that peacock, and we end up losing to the swan being left over with 1 health, which is rather sad, and we lose 3 health on that because it is currently already turn 7, and we're getting into the late game. But we believe that's a rather fluke loss, as our team seems rather strong, so there's no need to panic. We're going to add garlic to our cricket, which now means that anytime that cricket gets attacked, it will take 2 less damage from that attack, but still taking a minimum of 1 damage. Here you can see it takes 1 damage, takes 1 damage again, but this has greatly increased the tankiness of our cricket, and because we put garlic on it, the rabbit that we have in the back that we mentioned before gave it +1 health permanently. The giraffe is still giving it a +1/+1, and because of all of these combos and all of this permanent statage that we're giving the cricket, we're able to win another round. Here we are already at 5 wins. We decide to sell the swan, as we can't really afford getting away with the greediness for too long, we believe. We add another rabbit, and now that we have 2 rabbits, even though they're both level 1, anytime we add any food or equipment to any of our units, it will now be given +2 permanent health, which is very nice. Sure, they're not very useful in the back, but all you really need sometimes is one very strong unit to carry you out throughout the game, and you can use the other units to be more greedy in your playstyle, which will help you win games overall. Very nice. This person's doing a classic strategy of badger cheese, as I like to call it, where they use the badger, which when it dies does damage adjacent to units next to it, both allies and enemies, but he put it at the end so he has no enemies to hit, and he put a honey pot on it, which means that when it dies, it spawns a bee, so that normally what happens is the badger will die, and then it will kill your unit, but then the bee will end up winning the round for him. It's a bit complicated, but once you play this game a bit, it'll make a lot of sense. Here we find a monkey, and what a monkey means is serotonin for the player, because now that we have the monkey, it'll give the rightmost character unit on our team +3/+3 stats every single round, which is just absolutely amazing. I love the monkey. We also found a buffalo in our shop, or a bison. I think it's a bison, but what the bison does is when any of our units is level 3, it will forever get +2/+2 stats each round that we have the level 3 unit. Sadly, we don't have the level 3 unit actually yet, so instead we're just gonna give our units a bunch of food, but we're still gonna stick with the bison early on because we believe that we're going to be able to find that level 3 unit quite easily. We actually do get the level 3 unit because we use the chocolate, which I just realized we did end up doing, to give the cricket level 3, and now the bison, as you will see when we hit end turn, will gain +2/+2 stats. Our whole team is looking absolutely beautiful. Look at that, bison +2/+2, the giraffe is giving the bison a +1/+1, and the monkey is giving our cricket an insane +3/+3, and now the cricket's up to 29/35, absolute legend. It is very strong. But the nice thing about this game is units are capped out at 50-50, so that your units can't get too ridiculously strong, and you do actually have a chance of beating people. Here we are already looking for... Now we can actually get tier 6 units, as it just said. But we don't really want tier 6 units. We're kind of rocking with this early game cricket and all of these units behind it, buffing it. That's all you really need. We hit a nice tier 2 giraffe, which is buffing the cricket and the bison now. Beautiful, beautiful. And pretty soon we don't need to be buffing this cricket anymore because it's almost at max health. This guy has actually a pretty strong team. He has the kangaroo, which is getting buffed every time the unit in front of him attacks, and we end up losing, which isn't very ideal. We do have 4 health left, which is nice, which means we do have 2 more losses possible. So we don't need to go into full panic mode. And what full panic mode pretty much means would be selling this rabbit and this monkey for better units, such as that scorpion, which we froze. And the scorpion, what it does is it will kill the unit that it fights automatically if it gets to hit it, unless it's wearing melon armor, of course. See, the nice thing about this game, there's so many counters and things to like think about. It's quite interesting. For instance, this guy has a snake tiger combo, and the snake, what it does is anytime the unit in front of it attacks, it will throw out a stone hitting one of your random units for 8 damage, and the tiger doubles that effect, so he's hitting 2 units, random units, for 8 damage each time. But because we're able to hit the unit in front of the snake and killing it, we are able to win. Now that we have 9 wins, we're looking to try and finish this game off. So we're selling our buffing units that we don't really need anymore. We're going to pick up this random alligator, which is just going to hit 1 unit for 8 damage. We're picking up the scorpion like we mentioned before. Now we kind of are in an awkward space where we have 3 gold and we can't really do anything much with it. We do have 2 lives left, so we're going to freeze the good food. We're going to freeze a cow, which when you play it, you end up getting 2 very useful foods. Again, all the units, there's so many, which makes this game so great, and once again, it's free, which is just absolutely amazing. So I definitely highly recommend checking it out, and let's see if we're able to close this game out. Here you can see that we're up against a hippo with only garlic armor, so our scorpion is able to kill it off. Our cricket is able then to finish off everyone else, and just like that, we end up winning the game. It is over, and boy, does it feel nice getting your first ever 10-game win. Sure, this isn't my first ever, but man, every time you get it, it's just amazing. And you know what you end up doing? You end up just hitting play again almost every single time. I recommend maybe setting up a timer for yourself so you don't just play this game forever and ever, because man, is it addicting, and I truly believe that this is the best free mobile game that you can play at the moment.